See, I want to go ahead and finish talking about the ritual because I ain't finished. And I was like, I knew that Cynthia and Austin could not handle, I knew people could not handle me having a baby with a white man. But to steal my child and molest him and take his virginity or do whatever y'all done did and to be terrorizing this baby like that I'm pregnant with, child, they got these people trying to make all that. Y'all know this is where the Palace Inn is right here. The Palace Inn is right here where I'm showing y'all. I ain't gonna keep. And then I slept right there for the first night on that bus stop, and I was telling y'all information from that bus stop, and that's the one on Southwest Freeway right there, by Southwest Freeway. And that's Bissonnette going that way, and I told you I ain't want to go over there. And because they trying to set me up like a prostitute. And then try to have the very same men that's trying to pick you up and everything and have sex with you. Let Cynthia and them say I'm a prostitute, and it's disgusting. I knew that she was a nasty person because she was a white woman. And all white women are nasty people. It's probably going to be just like a handful of white women in this life that'll be gems that probably won't be wicked, according to what I've seen. And they got black men still right here at Beechnut and South Gaston by that Q-Mart, and they got police in the parking lot at the Q-Mart. They just chilling, but they you plotting on me though. You know what I'm saying? You still trying to look for a reason to plot on the black woman. And it's disgusting. And then they got them blocking off the road right there, whatever about that. And claiming that these guys is doing construction. And at first I was like, well, that's good because they got gang members swarming off of the highway, so they blocking by the highway and then letting them just swarm down the feeder. And I'm like, okay, that's fine because at least it'll show the police, if there are any on the force, that is slowing down the gang members, but they still coming down the feeder. And so they got them trying to make as much noise as they can. They driving past speeding, trying to drown out my videos because I'm telling the truth about these people that have my child and everybody, and don't nobody want to take no accountability to what you did with my little boy that's mixed with white. His daddy is white. And Austin was handing my baby over. Like, first of all, I knew Austin could not handle being with Andrea Jones. I don't care what other black women or whatever, white women, whoever they done tried to piece him up with somebody else to hurt me because they was jealous. And they done stole my baby. And it was all the women in the state of Texas sitting over here jealous of one black woman with a baby by a white man, that you gonna try to hand my child over to be raped at 2 years old while I was in jail for protecting myself from Austin. And y'all need to give me my child instead of trying to set me up to be murdered. And I need some, and then the fact that I'm carrying this baby and they trying to have me smoking Black and Milds with my baby. And then it's for Cynthia. I always knew Cynthia could not. Cynthia is a racist. And she was always belittling me. She was a nasty old white woman, fat, nasty, living in the woods. And turns out she was a witch. Turns out she is a witch. And she had this nasty, fat Mexican man up in there. And I found out that Austin was not her real son because he was trying to fight Cynthia and said there was a side to Cynthia that I did not know about and that she was not as innocent as I thought, because he kept on trying to beat Cynthia ass and kill Cynthia up in her fucking home. And now I know why Austin was doing it, because Cynthia is a witch and Cynthia is a child molester, and she done had this man since he was a little boy. And something is wrong with Austin. Something is wrong with Austin. You don't take no baby from his mom and have men having sex with him at your house while you claiming you at work, Johnny. She left him and then had him taking pictures with Johnny and then saying that's his dad. and was leaving him there with, and he was a child. Cynthia was a child molester, and I knew that something was wrong with Cynthia. I knew she was a child molester when she told me, when she showed me the pictures of her, and Austin was looking at the pictures of Johnny like, oh, that's my dad, and I loved him. He probably don't know, sweetie. Johnny probably did something to you up until them days where you started could remember your memories, and that's around like the 2-year-old age. You start to be able to remember memories from then. I'm thinking, oh, Johnny probably was molesting Austin, and God killed him. And then she met Mexican man, Joseph, and then he stepped in to be Austin's father. But by that point, Austin probably had been molested a whole bunch of times by Johnny, and she know better to be leaving somebody else's child that you done stole from the hospital. And she told me how she stole him. How she said she ain't go through no adoption agency for him. Some nurse at the hospital talking about, oh, some woman left her baby up here. You don't do that. You go through Child Protective Services, and you go through an adoption agency, and you help them understand the case that his mother had, who that child had got him from. And Cynthia called his mother a prostitute and a whore, and said that she gave birth smoking a cigarette, that she was so abused that she wanted a cigarette while she gave birth to Austin in the hospital, because they abused her, just like they doing to me, and probably worse. And she was a Satanist, meaning they had the lady worshiping the white man, and then she was not worshiping the God of Revelations. And they brought this woman up wherever they brought her to, and then took, she might have gave him up. She might have didn't want him. But at the end of the day, that's not how you go through getting a child. You don't just steal from the hospital because his mother had a case where she probably didn't want him, or she wasn't in a position to take care of him right then. And then she gonna let a nurse, somebody that work up at the hospital or something with her, sneak Austin to her. And then she took him. She said that she just went up there and talked about, oh, I got a good home for him, and took him. That's not how it worked. 20 years ago, no, that's not how it worked. That's not how it worked. You don't take no newborn baby. You ain't went through no paperwork, no course or nothing, and you took him. And with mine, she done got slick. So I knew Cynthia, something was wrong with her when I seen that she was telling me that she went to work, but she left Austin at home with Johnny. And I seen Austin, he looked just like my son, and he was so damn beautiful. Austin was so fucking beautiful. I already knew what time it was. I knew she was a child molester to leave that beautiful little boy there with Johnny by himself all goddamn day. And then you could see in Austin's eyes that something had happened to him probably with Johnny, but that Johnny was the only one he knew. And that's what she doing to my son. And she left my baby with Joseph, and he's a child molester, and he's too damn young. They don't know no better. And then they be wanting to beat your ass because they know something is wrong when they get older. And Austin was beating Joseph up. He was beating the fucking shit out of him. And he was about to kill Cynthia. And I know why. Because Cynthia a damn child molester. And she shouldn't even have raised Austin. And she done let them people molest him all up in their neighborhood and put needles up in his arms. At 14, she got pictures of Austin. 14, he was gorgeous. Gorgeous. And she kept letting him ride around the pedophile neighborhood with a bike that she bought him. And I asked Cynthia, why was you letting him ride around by himself like that? Because it's a drug-infested pedophile community that they make it seem like because there's white people and Mexicans in the community and a few blacks, that, oh, it's just a good neighborhood. No, it is not. It ain't nothing but drug dealers and pedophiles in that community. And when Austin told me how he got on meth and how he lost his virginity, I knew that something was wrong. But I didn't know Cynthia was in a coven that molest children. And Austin was not even her child. And she drops people's children off with other people that are pedophiles, and she know what they gonna do to the baby. And then she'll act like they babysitting the child and be like, oh, that's my good friend, knowing that they gonna molest the child. And then to come pick the child up from the person and say, oh, thanks, pay them for watching your baby or whatever they gonna do, but knowing that they molesting somebody's child and it's not hers. And then they'll set the mama up on the streets. And they'll say she a drug addict and a prostitute. And you saying, I want my child. So why I gotta scream for a year for my child? And you got me out here smoking and I'm pregnant, and y'all saying that I'm not pregnant, and God was showing them following me around in the jail when they was lying and saying I was pregnant. He was showing me getting out and pregnant, and then them following me around, the correctional guards that they had guarding my cell, trying to steal the baby. And then trying to take it home with their girlfriends, knowing I'm pregnant, trying to steal my child right up out of my body and saying that I was never pregnant. And my sister, she know I'm pregnant. But the Mexicans is running around trying to either kill it or steal it. And she will sit there and let somebody's child be molested by Joseph and know that he gonna do it. And then they be like, oh no, he wouldn't do that. And when you find out that Cynthia's molesting them too, and how bad she molests them, then you'll be like, oh my God, she was a witch living in the damn woods with a pedophile. He looked like a pedophile, and so does she. And they are. And they don't have any children of their own. Joseph don't have no biological children, and he's a damn child molester. The fruit of the womb is a reward, and God did not give that to Cynthia or Joseph, and he gave it to me. And I always knew that they was pedophiles, because one thing about a mother and a woman is you gonna have that intuition. And when I knew from the jump they was pedophiles when they left Austin on the streets to get try to make him get fucked by gang members because he was on meth, and they put him on that shit on purpose. And then she left him outside, and Austin was only 18 years old. And I went up into that goddamn dope house after I done told y'all that I said that Austin was too young for me. But I did. And everybody out there know it. So for y'all to sit there and take my baby and let my child be passed around the gang members, and y'all know that I didn't even want y'all passing Austin around. I went to Steve's house. He was a dope dealer out there in Magnolia. And I found his house when I found out that he was giving Austin dope through his damn arms and shit, selling him shit like that, and he was only 18. You don't do that shit to no 18-year-old. You don't give no 18-year-old methamphetamine and heroin and crack. He was 18. And then letting these men, black men, make Austin have to let them suck on him for the dope. And Cynthia knew. But Austin told me that he be riding around on that bike, and she don't watch the kids, and she don't watch them for a reason. Because everybody around there is pedophiles, and they all in the same coven. And she let him go on home to them women house that they knew was pedophiles, man. And see, Austin too young. He too young to see it. He too young. And he came to me in the spirit while they were trying to murder me in Atlanta, while I was telling about them molesting my little boy by him. And he said, don't forget about this, Andrea. And he handed me a magazine, and the images was blurred, but Austin was naked. And they had done publicized it somewhere on some underground pedophile magazine. And it was the little toys that he had that Johnny used to watch him with. And see, Austin done joined it and know that I want him to go to prison. And he not gonna tell the truth because Cynthia buy him. Cynthia give Austin all kind of shit. And I went to Steve's house because Austin told me after I got him out the dope house. It took him a while to tell me what they did. It took a while for him to tell me what they did to start getting his booty, to start getting his ass. And he was not her child. And she's a damn child molester too. And the way they wanted to rape my baby, talking about you want to rape my baby with the whole damn police squad, she didn't give a fuck about Austin. She didn't give a fuck about what Johnny or anybody did to him when he couldn't remember. She didn't give a damn. Because she wanted to rape my baby with the police. Well, all these, she said, you give her herpes and AIDS. And that's what they saying they doing to Austin. Trying to give him herpes. Talking about some girl telling me that he got AIDS. May not be true. And then you done took my little boy, Precious, and trying to have me set up on the streets like a prostitute. Got the whole damn state of Texas trying to do it because I didn't know they all was pedophiles out here. And I went to the dope house because Cynthia was letting them. Cynthia had left Austin outside while I was staying at Stephania's. And he claimed he was sleeping at the park, but I let him inside. And he was skinny. And he was on that shit. And he wanted more. And there was sexual abuse. And I knew that some of them men had to take advantage of him because I know the game. And then Austin had disappeared for a few days and I hadn't heard from him. And I went to the dope man house and I asked around all the black people in the neighborhood and they were like, oh, please don't go and get Austin. They was like, he's not gonna change. So the black man said, and I wish I would have listened. Because if I would have known y'all were going to take my baby and molest him that I had by Austin, I never would have even gave birth to a son for Austin. I would have just, if I would have known all y'all was pedophiles, the entire country, I would have just not had no kids. I would have just let y'all kill me. Because that's what y'all was trying to do anyway my whole life because I was not like that. I'm not no damn pedophile, bruh. And God said that's why they wanted to kill me in the fucking jail, was because they can't do the wickedness that they want to do around me. And then I went to the dope man house because I knew Austin was 18. And I knew it was not no weed that you was giving him. And I smoked weed. And I still smoke a little fucking weed. And that shit ain't gonna make me get over there and be sucking people dicks and all that old kind of shit. I ain't got no weed. I don't need it. I don't need it. But at the end of the day, that meth and that hard drug they put in him at 14, they knew he was gonna need it. And he be shitting on himself and withdrawing, and they know what kind of drugs they was giving him. And they knew that he would do anything for it. And he was only 14. It turns out she's a child molester. And when I asked Cynthia if she knew about Austin sticking needles in his arm and them doing that, she gonna act like, I don't know anything about it. Oh no, yes you do. And you a pedophile. And you did that. And it was some white women. But I'm going to tell you, so I went over to the dope man house, Steve. And I found it. And I found it by the Holy Spirit because the man only said, it's that way. He didn't tell me how to get there. And I walked for about an hour. And it led me right to his door. Never been there, but God led me right to his door. And I knocked on the door, and Austin answered. And I came to get him up out of that goddamn dope house because he was 18. And that's why I came and got Austin. That's how I ended up with my baby daddy. For everybody that want to have a problem with how young my man was, but y'all got all these old ass men having sex with these 18-year-old girls, but you got a problem with a 20-something-year-old being with an 18-year-old dude. That was none of your fucking business. He was grown. I didn't molest him like them white women did and stuck needles in his arms. Did I do that? No, I actually didn't take advantage of him when I had the opportunity. When he was on dope and he needed money, I could have been like, oh, come eat my pussy. But I said, no, I ain't really like him. He was cute, but I'm not attracted to men who do hard drugs. Well, I was attracted to Austin, but I'm just saying, that's unattractive. That, it don't matter what you look like. That'll make anybody not want to be with you. But because he was so young and I knew they was taking advantage of him, I didn't want to see that for him. And I said, Austin, I'm about to leave here because they mistreated me. They was trying to treat me like a slave in Stephania's home. And they was trying to act better than me and trying to mistreat me. And now I see why. Because see, all these black women, they think they serve in Egypt. They think you gonna mistreat another black woman. And if her hair texture not a certain way, or she ain't got money, or she don't look a way that society want her to look, you gonna get up and let her come up in your house and think you gonna have a free slave. That's what Stephania was treating me like. And I ain't no motherfucking slave. And neither is my son that y'all sold over there to sex slavery and said y'all, and then want to cover up them trying to bring my child up in there and rape him to death up in the jail when they had me up in there. And just because you did that, you know you need to give my son back to me. And so I told Austin, I said, I'm about to leave Magnolia, Texas. Well, I didn't know I was going to leave Magnolia, but I'm about to leave this neighborhood because it was around the same neighborhood where Steve the dope man and Stephania house was. You had to cut through one neighborhood, but it was like all in the same area around Decker Hills too, where Cynthia was. And Cynthia was leaving him outside. And he had been robbing Cynthia so he could get the dope. And he started stealing a lot. Because Austin didn't want to be taken advantage of by no man for no goddamn dope. Now, I'll tell you that. And he tried to act real hard and macho to cover up what they motherfucker was trying to have him do. And he fruity. He a little fruity sometimes. But he didn't like for people just to be trying to take advantage of him like that. He didn't like that. Now he'd rather steal some shit. And he robbed Cynthia with some other dudes for all some equipment and stuff up out of her house. And Cynthia was like, after that, she called the police and said he couldn't come in the house no more, and they was leaving him outside. And then he was having to go in the dope man house, and the black men were trying to take advantage of him, and they pedophiles. And they all in the same coven that Cynthia is in. And Austin was 14, and the child was not hers. He was not hers. So for a woman that claimed you work from home and people is molesting a little man outside that you was supposed to raise correctly, but you let them put dope in his arms and you're a pedophile, how we know you wasn't getting chicks to let them dope boys molest Austin and letting people do all that kind of stuff to him in your neighborhood and act like you did not know? And talking about you work from home. Yeah, she got a job and she do work at home. But you gotta begin, it's some other income coming from these pedophile covens. I know it is. And that's child prostitution. And so Austin told me like it was something cool when he was like, yeah, you wanna know how I lost my virginity? And I was like, at first I didn't want to hear it because I really didn't care. And he was like, this older grown woman took it. I was 14. And it's normal for men to start having sex around that age, you know, stuff like that. But and he was bragging about it being a grown woman that did it. And when he said that, I was like, you know, that was kind of strange. But if a grown woman just took his virginity, okay, that's what it is. A lot of grown people like to fuck little children. But then he said, yeah, she's the one who got me on meth. And I was like, what? Or heroin? I was like, what? He was like, yeah, she tricked me. He was like, yeah, she put it in my arm. And then, like, he basically said she took advantage